Hey guys, welcome to 20 plus web projects with vanilla JavaScript. So in this video I want to explain what the course is about and what you can expect. So this is meant to be a fun project-based course. Every project is meant to be done in 1 to 2 hours, something like that. So these are small projects. The reason I wanted to do this is because a lot of my courses will do either one big project or maybe 2 to 3 medium-sized projects. I wanted to have something where you could just take an hour out of your day and build something cool and not have to use a framework or anything like that. So I have a website called vanillawebprojects.com where I list out all the projects in this course and give you a demo for each one, so you can actually try them out before you take the course. Relaxation bring app with CS animations to music players. Those are types of applications, and they all have to do with the DOM and having some kind of interactivity. We deal in CSS, transitions, and so forth. So I think that this is a great course. It's about as long as you have a basic understanding of front-end web element. Even if you're an advanced developer, say you deal with React or Node.js on the back end, I think that enjoy this because you can just take an hour out of your day and just build a cool project, not have to worry about using any frameworks or anything like that. You might even pick up some new skills. So that anyone would enjoy this course. It's a good one to take after my modern CSS and my modern JavaScript from the beginning course, because in those ones I really do the hand holding and explain everything from scratch. This is more of just a fun project-based course. And on adding more as well. There's 20 now. Each section is different project. And first video in each section is like an intro where I show you the project and talk about. This will give you any resources like images or videos or anything you need for that project. Right, so hopefully you enjoy it, and in the next we'll talk a little bit about our environment, which will be very simple using VS Code. So basically just need a text editor and a browser. Okay, so I'll see you in. All right, welcome to your next project, which is going to be a custom video player. So in HTML5, we have the video tag, or the video element, which is used to embed video, and you use the default control video player styled however you want. And that's what we're going to do. So we have this player here. You can see we're going to have some corner here down on the control area. We're going to create our own buttons using font icons. We're going to create this progress bar using an input range, and then our own. We're going to update via JavaScript. Okay, so you'll see if I go ahead and press play, it's going to play a video. It's just a 60-second music video. But notice when I press play, this turns into pause. Okay, so pause, we can stop us back this, and we can put it wherever we want in the video. Time updates, and all this stuff is being done through the JavaScript. So when you use either the video tag or the audio tag HTML5, you have a set of APIs that come along with it. All right, so you can use just controls with the standard embedded video, but like I said, you can add own tools, and that's what we'll be doing. So this doc page is pretty helpful in terms of what you can do. So I'll have a link. Actually, I put it right in the HTML5 side of a comment so you can look at it. But yeah, so I think you guys will enjoy this. It's actually pretty easy to do when you have when you select event in your JavaScript. You have a whole set of properties and methods like play, time, things like that we're going to look at. Okay, so let's get started. All right, guys, welcome to your next project. So this project is kind of near and dear to me. It's a speech text reader app, and I say that because I have an autistic son who's nonverbal. He doesn't speak at all, and he uses an iPad app to communicate, and it's something that's similar to this. So this is like a really slimmed down version of that app. And basically, we're using the web speech API to be able to click on these buttons. We have some buttons that have some basic needs, some links and some places. So if I click one of these,
I'm hungry.
let me just turn this up a little bit.
I'm tired. I'm thirsty.
So whatever the caption here is what it will say.
I'm happy.
And then we can also bring down this custom text box. I already typed something in here. So it says, hello, my name is Brad. And if I click read text.
Hello, my name is Brad.
So you type whatever you want in here. I'll just say,
I love coding.
and we can change the voice. So there's a bunch of voices that are available with this API. And they all have different accents. Well, you can see like the countries next to them.
Coding.
And then that voice will carry over to the buttons as well. So now if I click these buttons, it'll use that voice. Okay, so like I said, we're using the Web Speech API, which still is an experimental technology, but mostly for speech recognition. You can see the support here. We're using speech synthesis, which is supported in all these browsers, except for IE and Opera for Android. There is a speech recognition part of this, but as you can see, it's not supported in a lot of the different browsers. But yeah, so that's what we'll be using to be able to achieve this. Hopefully you guys like it. And so in this project, we're going to implement infinite scrolling, which is a way to paginate. So sometimes you might see pagination numbers at the bottom with arrows so you can click to go to the next batch of content, whatever. In this case, we're dealing with blog posts. Or you might see where you, like Twitter, where you keep scrolling and it's basically an infinite scroll. So in this case, we're going to fetch 5 posts initially, and you can see the 5 here. And as I scroll, you see this little CSS loader, and it's going to grab 5 more. If I scroll again, 5 more, and you can see I have the IDs here, so they're numbered, so you can see that they're in the correct order. And what we're doing is we're fetching from an API. So we're going to be using this JSON placeholder fake REST API, which if you follow me for a while, you've probably used this at some point, whether on YouTube or on a Udemy course. But you can make different types of requests, get, post, put, patch, delete, to different resources such as posts. So if I click here, this URL is going to give me 100 posts, which are just objects with a user ID and an ID, a title, and a body. So we're going to make a request here, and we can also add parameters to get specific amounts. So I can say underscore limit equals 5, and it'll give me 5. And then if I want to get the next page, I can add in underscore page equals 2, and now you'll see that the ID starts at 6, so it gets me the next page. So that's what we do. We're going to make it so that when we hit a certain point in our scroll, it'll fetch the next batch of posts. And then we're also going to implement this filter so that we can go ahead and filter posts we already have. So if I do like SU, you can see it's already filtered some out. So it's going to show me the posts that we fetched that have SU in it. So SUNT, and these posts here all have SUNT. If I search for SUNT in my browser, you'll see that all of these include it in either the title or the body. Okay, and if you could use any resource, if you want to use something else from JSON placeholder, so if you want to-dos or users or something like that, you can. I just figured post was something simple to understand. But yeah, so that's what we'll be building. We'll be styling it with our CSS, and we'll also be creating that little loader with CSS as opposed to using some GIF image or something like that. Okay. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to your next project. So this is going to be a number guessing game, but instead of typing in a number, we're actually going to speak it, and we're going to use the speech recognition API. Now, the reason you see this on my screen, congrats, you've guessed the number, is because as soon as I start talking, it's going to record my voice. I've already clicked the little notification where you can allow it to access your microphone. Okay, so basically we can guess a number between 1 and 100. If it's lower than the number, it'll tell us to go higher. If we're higher, it'll tell us to go lower. And if it's not a number, it'll tell us that's not a valid number. It'll also tell us if we're out of range. So what I'm going to do is click the play again button and then give you a demo of the app. And in the console, you can see the correct number down here. So let's click play again. 40. 50. 200. Hello. 47. And there we go. So we guessed the number. Okay, so that's the project that we'll be building. And again, we'll be using speech recognition API, which still is in experimental mode. In fact, if you want to use Chrome or Firefox, and if you're using Firefox, you may have to set a flag, which I'll show you in the next video. And then we'll start on the HTML and CSS, and then we'll move to the JavaScript. Okay, so this is a sortable list project, and my main focus with this project is the drag API, which you can find here in the Mozilla documentation. And there's a whole bunch of drag events that we can use, such as drag start, which we'll be using, drop, drag enter, drag leave. So we'll be using a bunch of these in this project. And the idea is to just have a sortable list that we can put into order. And I chose to use just the 10 people. I mean, you could have a list of anything, top 10 of anything. And the idea is to just put it into the correct order, and we're going to make it so that on each page load you can see that it's in a scrambled order. Okay, so we're going to scramble the list, and then we can go ahead and take and we can move it to another spot, and you'll see we have a little highlight when we're hovered over a certain item, and I can drop it there and it's going to switch spots with wherever I drop it. So this button down here is to check the order. Now, I know Jeff Bezos is number 1, so I'm going to go ahead and put him there. And I know Bill Gates is number 2, so I'm going to put him there. And then go ahead and check the order. And whatever is correct is going to be highlighted in green. Whatever is wrong in red. Okay, I know Warren Buffett is number 3, so we'll go ahead and move him there and check the order again. And you can see that that's correct. All right, so like I said, the main focus here is drag and drop, but we're going to look at some other helpful methods as well, and a lot of DOM manipulation and stuff like that. Okay, so hopefully you enjoy this. So in this project, we're going to be building a song lyrics search application, and we're using an API from lyrics.ovh. So this documentation here isn't very good actually. It gives us an example of an endpoint that we can call to get the lyrics from a song. We need to include the artist and the title. Now we can also search for songs or artists. So in this search box here, if I just type the word one and search, it's going to reach out to the API and find a song along with the artist that has the word one in it. So we have U2, Metallica, Calvin Harris, and so on. And what I like about this API is it also returns the total number of results along with a previous and or next link, so we can make a request to that and add some pagination here. So you can see I can go next, and you can see it brings me to the next of songs. And if I want to get the lyrics for any of these, I can just click on get lyrics, and it will make another request and get all the lyrics for us. And it returns the lyrics as basically one big string. However, it has new line characters in it that we can basically swap out line breaks, so we have the words on each line as they should be. So we'll be making requests to this API. We're also going to use async await along with the fetch API to kind of clean it up a little bit when we deal with promises. Okay. So in this project, we're going to be creating a memory cards application, which is basically like flashcards where you have a front and a back, and you create questions with answers, and you can study. And basically, we'll have all of our questions and answers, or our cards, in local storage, and we'll be able to add new cards, flip through them, flip for the answer, and clear them all out. And we're going to be writing quite a bit of CSS because we have some cool effects that we need to add, some transform, transitions, and so on. So let me just give you an example. Right now we have no cards, so I'm going to just click add card, which will then show this container that has a form. We can add a question, like let's say, what is PHP? And then for the answer, we'll say a programming language, and we'll say add card. So now we have one card, and it displays the question. It also shows us where we're at, so we have one of one cards. And we have this little icon here from Font Awesome. We're going to actually insert this using CSS and a Unicode. And then if I click on this, it'll flip and it'll show the answer. Okay, so we have a front and we have a back. So we have some cool CSS tricks we're going to use to be able to give this functionality. And then I'm going to add a new card. Let's say, what is React.js? And we'll say a JavaScript Framework. And we'll add the card. And now you can see we have one of two. We're still at the first card. If I click this one, it'll slide over to the next. Okay, and notice that we have kind of an effect where it goes out to around here, and that's from a CSS effect that we're going to add. So this project is CSS heavy, but there's also quite a bit of JavaScript to save the cards and them from local storage and all that stuff, add all the event listeners that we need. And you can add as many cards as you want. We can also clear them out. So if I click clear cards, they all just go away. If I reload, they're gone. All right, so that's what we'll be building. Hopefully you enjoy it. All right, guys, welcome to the music player project. So in this project, we're going to be using the audio API. Okay, so we've already built a custom video player in this course. So now we're going to build a custom music player. And the audio API is very similar. It has a play method, a pause method, a time update event. It has a lot of the same stuff. So we're going to build this really cool looking UI, and you'll notice a few things when I play the song. For one, they're going to rotate like a record, and then it's also going to have a little pop-up here with the name of the track as well as the progress bar that's going to go along with the music. So let's go ahead and play. Okay, so I can pause it. Now, I can also skip around. If the progress bar, if I click anywhere in it, it'll take me to that area in the song. Okay, another thing we can do is change the song. So I actually have 3 different songs, so we can change it forward. We can change it backwards, of course. And if we go all the way back, it'll just go back. It'll just basically revolve around to the last song. Same thing with the going forward. All right, so I think it's a cool little project. I think it's a nice looking UI, and I think you'll learn a lot when it comes to animation. So we'll have this little animation. We'll have the animation where this comes up when the song plays. So quite a bit of CSS and some JavaScript to basically manipulate and use the audio API. All right, so hopefully you enjoy it. Hey guys, welcome to your next project. So in this project, we're going to be building a Hangman game, and I'm sure most of you know how to play this. You just guess a letter to create a word, and if you guess the letter wrong, it starts to build a little figure, a little guy, and if you build the whole figure, then you lose the game if you keep missing letters. So we're going to build the pole and the little figure with SVG. Okay, so we're going to use a little bit of SVG, and then down here, obviously, we have our word, and have it so that we have some random words. If I reload, you can see that the word changes. So basically, we just have an array with a couple different words in it, and then we can hit a letter. So it has to be a letter. If I hit like a number or something, nothing happens. I'll hit the letter R. You can see that the letter R appears twice in this word. I'll hit P. Okay, so there's P. Let's hit something that's not there, like Z, and what happens is it tells us the wrong letters over here, and then it starts to build the character. So I'll hit X. So there's no X, so it gives us the body. I'll hit L. There's no L. We get the M. Let's hit Y. There's no Y. V. There's no V. O. There is an O. There's a G. You can probably guess what this says. An A. M. And let's try I and N. Okay, so we won. So we get this pop-up that says, congratulations, you won, and you can play again, and it'll reset everything. Now, I hit a letter, so E, and then I try to hit E again, we're going to get this little notification at the bottom that slides up that says you've already used this letter. Okay, and it doesn't count towards the points or whatever. So that's what we'll be building. I think it's a pretty cool project, and hopefully you enjoy. All right, guys, welcome to your next project. So in this application, we're going to be building a meal finder that works with the MealDB API. So basically, we can search for a meal or search for keywords. Let's say steak, and if I click the search button here, it's going to reach out to the API and return any meals that have the word steak in it. So here you can see I get some images, and I can hover over them. It shows me the title. If I click on one, it's going to then show me the single meal with the title, the categories, the instructions or the recipe, and then the ingredients, measurements, and the actual ingredients. Okay, so it'll show us all that, and then also we have this button will generate a random meal. So if you're just, if you're hungry and you don't know what to cook, you can just click this button here, and it will just show you a random meal from the API. Okay, and then this is the documentation page right here with all the different endpoints. So for example, if we grab this one, this will show us the meals that start with the letter A. So if I put this in the browser here, you can see the data that's returned back, and basically our job is to take the data and loop through it and output it into our DOM, into our user interface. All right, so we'll be using Fetch API and doing some other stuff as well. So hopefully you enjoy this project, and I will. All right, welcome to your next project. So in this project, we're going to be building an exchange rate calculator. We're actually going to use the Fetch API to make an HTTP request to a third-party API to get some exchange rates and then put that into the DOM. So here you can see I have two currency selectors, so I can choose any currency. I have USD here, and I have that set to 1, and then euros here, which is going to correspond with the correct value using the exchange rate. It's actually going to be rounded up, but here you can see the exact rate. Okay, and if I change this value down here will change. If I change this to something else like, I don't know, JPY, then it's going to give us the value for that. It's also going to show us the exact exchange rate here. And then I want to swap the two. If I want euros up here, we can click swap, and it'll give us the rate for JPY for euros. Okay, so it's very dynamic. And the way that we're able to do this is by using this exchange rate API. So this is a free third-party API that will allow you to hit this endpoint with a currency, in this case USD, and it'll give you a response back with all of the rates for that currency. So we'll be using the Fetch API to do this. We'll get the response back, and we'll insert it into DOM. And then we'll also talk more about Fetch and what it is, how to use it. We'll talk about JSON and so on. All right, so it's a pretty simple project, but like I said, the main goal is if you're familiar with making requests and dealing with third-party APIs. So in this project, we're going to implement infinite scrolling, which is a way to paginate. So sometimes you might see pagination numbers at the bottom with arrows, so you can click to go to the next batch of content, whatever. In this case, we're dealing with blog posts. Or you might see where you, like Twitter, where you keep scrolling and it's basically an infinite scroll. So in this case, we're going to fetch 5 posts initially, and you can see the 5 here. And as I scroll, you see this little CSS loader, and it's going to grab 5 more. If I scroll again, 5 more, and you can see I have the IDs here, so they're numbered, so you can see that they're in the correct order. And what we're doing is we're fetching from an API. So we're going to be using this JSON placeholder fake REST API, which if you follow me for a while, you've probably used this at some point, whether on YouTube or on a Udemy course. But you can make different types of requests, get, post, put, patch, delete, to different resources such as posts. So if I click here, this URL is going to give me 100 posts, which are just objects with a user ID and an ID, a title, and a body. So we're going to make a request here, and we can also add parameters to get specific amounts. So I can say underscore limit equals 5, and it'll give me 5. And then if I want to get the next page, I can add in underscore page equals 2, and now you'll see that the ID starts at 6, so it gets me the next page. So that's what we do. We're going to make it so that when we hit a certain point in our scroll, it'll fetch the next batch of posts. And then we're also going to implement this filter so that we can go ahead and filter posts we already have. So if I do like SU, you can see it's already filtered some out. So it's going to show me the posts that we fetched that have SU in it. So SUNT, and these posts here all have SUNT. If I search for SUNT in my browser, you'll see that all of these include it in either the title or the body. Okay, and if you could use any resource, if you want to use something else from JSON placeholder, so if you want to use to-dos or users or something like that, you can. I just figured post was something simple to understand. But yeah, so that's what we'll be building. We'll be styling it with our CSS, and we'll also be creating that little loader with CSS as opposed to using some GIF image or something like that. Okay. What's going on, guys? Welcome to your first project. So I wanted to do something pretty simple, but something that's pretty common for the first project of the course. And we're going to do a form validator. So we're going to do some client-side form validation. And we'll first create the form with HTML, then we're going to style it with CSS, and then we're going to go ahead and add our JavaScript. Now, to begin with, we're going to do this kind of, I guess, the easy way, but not the best code, just a bunch of if statements with some validation, and then we're going to completely refactor it and create specific functions for each type of validation. For instance, to check required, or check the length, or check to see if the passwords match. So we'll write it in one way, and then we'll completely refactor it to make it cleaner and make it more scalable. If we want to add more fields, it'll be easy to add the validation. Okay, so just to give an example here, if I were to submit, I get a bunch of errors. So every field is required. Some of them have a min and max length, so username must be at least 3 characters. If I type in Brad and submit, you'll see that that's now highlighted green, which means that it passed. For the email, so if I just type in anything, that's not going to work. If I do test@test.com, that's going to pass. Now for the password, it has to be at least 6 characters. If I do, let's do 3 characters and submit, see, it still get that error. Also, the passwords don't match, and they have to. So let's do 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Submit, and now they pass. Okay, so we'll be dealing with JavaScript along with CSS because obviously we need to add certain classes to make this green or red or display or hide the error messages. Hey guys, welcome to the movie seat booking app. So in this application, we're going to build this UI here, which is something you would see in like a movie theater website where you pick your seats, you pick the movie. So basically we have a movie with a price, and you can see each movie has a different ticket price. And we have a little legend here that shows us that blue is selected, white is occupied, and the gray is open. So down here I can select some movie seats. So there's a bunch here. I can't select the occupied ones. And down here it says you have selected 4 seats for the price of $40 because each ticket is $10 for this movie. If I go ahead and change the movie to Joker, which is $12, it updates the total to $48. Okay, and obviously I can also deselect these as well. Now we're going to add this functionality, and we're also going to implement local storage so that the seats, the indexes of the seats and the movie and the price saved, so that when I reload, you can see that it stays on the page. Okay, so we're going to save everything in local storage and then populate the UI with that data so that when we come back to the page, it's still there. So we'll be working with local storage. We'll work with some high order array methods like for each and map. We'll work with the spread operator. So hey guys, welcome to your next project. So this is actually a really simple project. We're not going to have that much JavaScript here. It's going to be a mix of CSS and JavaScript, actually, some CSS animation, and then some JavaScript to basically add and remove some classes at certain points. So this is a relaxer or a meditation app or a breathing app where you see it starts off at the top. So it starts off right here, and you breathe in. This will extend. When it gets to the white, you hold, and then you breathe out, and this shrinks. So, like I said, I'll use a combination of CSS animations along with JavaScript to get it to basically have this breathe animation so that you can watch it breathe along with you. Okay, so that's it. Hey, what's going on, guys? So this is one of the more JavaScript-heavy projects in the course. This is a breakout game where obviously you can see the ball bounces. I have a little paddle I can move back and forth, break the bricks, and each time I break a brick it disappears and the score increases. Okay, if I miss, let's just do a miss here. Well, that was a good one. So if I miss, you'll notice that the bricks come back and my score resets. Okay, we also have this little show rules button we can click, and we have the rules that slide open and tell you how to play. So like I said, this is pretty JavaScript heavy. We're going to be using Canvas for the most part, HTML5 Canvas element with the JavaScript API in order to do this, in order to have the animation, in order to, draw all the elements on the canvas and so on. All right, so I think you'll like it, and I think you'll learn a lot from it. So let's